guys, meet me again, Alifa, on Tiny Tales Tea Time podcast with talks about sweeter tastes. So, today we're going to talk about folk tales with my friends Haya and Handa.
Hi guys!
We will talk about folk tales starting from the old versions to the how they have changed in the contemporary era. And to make the discussion concrete, we will focus on one of the most iconic stories. Do you guys know what's that? So the story is Beauty and the Beast, which originated in France but has spread widely in American and Asia. Alright, for the start, maybe we should discuss about what is folktale first. So, as far as I know, folktales are like fairy tales, right? I think Handa and Haya could give us their different perspective on folktale.
Okay, maybe I'll go first. In my perspective, folktale not just about story to tell in the children by my parents.
And in my opinion, folktales are spread by word of mouth, like
Yeah.
that.
But actually, the story in folktale cover a lot of things like fear, hope, and maybe moral message to show in the readers.
As far as I know, folktales are considered old tales, right? So there are any differences between old tales and contemporary tales?
Of course, there is like in old folktales, they usually originate from agrarian or aristocratic communities, are passed down orally, and usually serve as a moral lessons, especially since they are told to children, right?
Then, in my opinion, the characters tend to be very simple. Like, if they are good, they are very good, and if they are evil, they are very evil. Like, there are no gray areas in all folktales. The conflict are also structured to convey a specific message.
And it's not far from loyalty, kindness, and or family obligation. But there are also many European folktales that actually contain a lot of critical social criticism, but we have to analyze them more deeply.
The difference with contemporary folktales?
During the contemporary era, folktale no longer exists in oral tradition, but have transformed into new media. This include modern children books like films, animations, webtoon, comic, and even short videos, maybe.
Well, the change in medium has a direct impact on the content of the story. If in the old tales era, the stories seem simple, but in the contemporary era, the characters in the stories are usually more complex.
What do you mean it's more complex?
In contemporary folktales, there are often issues of gender relationship and power that are questioned, and the moral message is not just viewed from one side. It's more like this: the roles of women are highlighted, and old narrative that seems to normalize violence are dismantled.
Just like, for example, like the story of the Beauty and the Beast, the story tell about of Belle who meets the ugly prince, like a monster, like.
I see. But I heard that story is originated in French, right? So could you explain to us what's the French version is like?
So the oldest version appeared in 1740, written by Gabriele Suzanne Barbot de Villeneuve. But the real story is much longer and more complex than the popular version today. The oldest version is not just a love story between Belle and the prince, but also talk about social status, the structure of aristocratic family, and morality.
Yeah, so Belle in the old era is portrayed as a gentle, devoted, and wise female character. Then the prince is portrayed as a tragic figure who is cursed by the social rules of the aristocracy, not just a monster. And the moral theme revolves around family obligation, social status, and the need to maintain one's honor in society.
Well, in the American version, The focus has shifted. The story has been adapted by Disney. Belle is no longer portrayed as virtuous aristocrat. Instead, she is portrayed as a representation of independent woman who loves knowledge and dare to make her own decision. In the American version, family conflict is no longer the center of the story, but rather the transformation of characters through individual choices rather than moral obligation.
So, in the American version emphasizes the themes of self-empowerment and autonomy, as well as criticism of toxic masculinity. Because of the romantic element, the American version is much more pop, more romantic, but easier for a global audience to digest.
It's like I see a shift in values from an aristocratic social structure to individual independence, right? So, what's the old French version and the contemporary American version? Is there any Asian version?
In Asia, family relationships are sacrifice tend to be at the center of story. So the princess is portrayed as not as a threat, but more as a tragic figure who needs help.
Yeah, actually, it's almost the same. The character Ben in the Belle in the Asian version is portrayed not only as independent, but women are depicted as a bridge of harmony between two worlds. The difference with the American adaptation is that the themes of karma, faith, and spiritual growth are stronger in Asia than in the American adaptation.
So, which means that the old French version of Beauty and the Beast emphasized aristocratic roots, dark undertones, symbolism, and virtue. Then the contemporary American version emphasized individualism, empowerment, pop romance, and lighter characters. And the contemporary Asian version emphasized family, harmony, and deep emotional relationships, right?
Actually, it is like so. In our opinion, the three versions of the Beauty and the Beast folktale show that folktales are not just stories; they are a reflection of the culture that adapted them.
What does the society's views on the story Beauty and the Beast look like?
Actually, everyone has their own perspective, but as far as I know, French society view all the old tales, Beauty and the Beast, as a classic literary work that inherits old European tradition. So when they read this story, they are aware of history. What I mean is, when they read this story, they realize that they were born into an aristocratic society that contains implicit social criticism.
And also, as far as I know, in French literary tradition, classic fairy tales are treated as cultural heritage. They are not just entertaining stories for children. And for Americans themselves, when viewing the contemporary version of Beauty and the Beast as pop culture property, it means that this story can be modified and adapted to reach a wider market. And American reader also see this story as one about empathy and self-discovery. Belle is portrayed as an independent figure, while the Beast is a misunderstood character, and love is presented as a simple process.
So here we can see that American society views folktale not only as entertainment or children's stories, but also as a space for social criticism, I think.
As for Asian society, how do they view this story?
Actually, in Asia, especially in parts of Southeast Asia and East Asia, people tend to prefer stories that focus on family, sacrifice, or destiny as the core of the conflict.
That's why popular adaptation of Beauty and the Beast in Asia often reinterpret in the Beast as a character who must be understood through empathy rather than fought against through individualism.
Honestly, I'm just thinking that if we want to analyze this story, could you give us some advice on which theory that we should use to analyze the story Beauty and the Beast?
I think I would choose comparative literature theory because this is kind of cross culture. So one story will be compared in three cultures. Then we can also learn about the cultures, value, and of each country, especially since this is the old French version. This is theory can help us understand the different meaning of the story has been modified to the contemporary era.
And if me, I would probably use reception theory. This theory helps us understand how we as readers interpret stories based on the social context of each country. It explains how French society reads Beauty and the Beast as an aristocratic legacy, why American society sees it as a story of empowerment, and why Asian society interprets relationship and family as the moral core.
So, we've discussed the French, American, and Asian versions, but what is the relevance all of these stories to young readers in Indonesia? Why do young people today need to know the differences in how each culture presents the story of Beauty and the Beast?
Maybe because we live in Indonesia, that we have many culture. The younger generation read the modern Beauty and the Beast as a hybrid product. They capture American value of independence while still resonating with Asian view of togetherness and social relations. When new version of this fairy tale reinterpret old themes such as beauty, power, and relationship dynamics, young readers see how classic narrative can be adapted to contemporary issues, from female agency to the limit of change in a relationship.
I think so. Like its greatest relevance stems from its function as a new moral map. This story provides readers with space to reevaluate what healthy love is, how human change, and how one builds self-understanding in the midst of a complex social world. And folktales are no longer just bedtime stories, but tools for reflection that help young Indonesian readers navigate the emotional and cultural experiences they are currently going through. Like that.
Okay, thank you, Haya and Handa, for your opinion about folk tales. So, from our discussion, it's very clear that Beauty and the Beast change from according to the culture that adapts it. Handa and Haya explanation shows that young Indonesian readers live amid a mixture of values ranging from American individualism to warm Asian relationships. So the way we read the story automatically becomes hybrid, and Haya and Handa explanations emphasize that fairy tales like this now function as a new moral map, a place where we can learn to understand relationship, personal change, and the boundaries of healthy love. So, regardless of the old version, the story helps shapes the way we view ourselves and the social world around us. That's all for today's Tiny Tales Tea Time Chat. A huge thank you for my friends Handa and Haya for joining us on our journey through Beauty and the Beast from French to American and Asian. Hopefully after this, you guys will see folk tales not just about fairy tales, but as living, evolving stories that help shape the way we understand the world. See you in the next episode. Stay curious, keep reading, and keep drinking tea with more sweet stories. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.